Hello everyone, welcome to Chup, the podcast. Aru lisuni bhaneke bhanla. And we're your hosts, Adhar.
Asia.
Somyata.
And Dana.
Chup is a podcast where we are contradicting the purpose of our own name by not staying silent. We are instead going to talk about different topics from our own perspectives.
You can catch up with Chup and support us by subscribing to us on YouTube or following us on Instagram.
So, today, as our first segment of the upcoming episodes, we are discussing the current situation in the country with the second wave of the virus. The pandemic has had a huge impact on our lifestyle and affected us to a great degree, and we are now, as many individuals, looking forward to making this time as productive as we possibly can. And we hope to focus more on SIP and try to bring you guys weekly content, hopefully every Friday.
Without procrastinating.
Yes. And one of the ways in which the pandemic has altered our lifestyle is that we are no longer high school students, which is scary and exciting at the same time.
I agree. Like, we were supposed to be giving our exams right now, but it got cancelled as it was impacted by the Nishedagia enforced by the government as a precautionary measure to control the rising cases, COVID cases.
Yeah, in my opinion, the government was kind of late to respond to this situation because Isomatsu, the cases almost was around 9,000, and in Nepal, the average cases per week is 7,000.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's only gonna escalate from there.
Yeah, so based on the data we collected, it is predicted that there will be more than 200% rise in positive cases. So we might be following India's footsteps if this goes on.
And it's like very mishandled because I actually have no idea what the government is doing or has planned for this. I heard that our prime minister is currently asking for help from other countries because the situation is kind of getting bad and the country has zero resources to control it. And I've even heard that state-run hospitals are overwhelmed and private are basically turning patients away because they have not been instructed to deal with COVID cases. And just with that, the government is doing everything last minute. The international flights were just canceled, like they were stopped, I think around Thursday, which is kind of too late because having the borders open during such a situation is not the smartest thing to do. Plus, the government has still instated that the flights from one flight each from Kathmandu to Delhi will be going on each day. So I don't think that's the right move. And everything has been just so last minute, which I feel like shows how unprepared our country is.
Yeah, even our exams, it was cancelled so last minute. I think 3 days before the exam was supposed to happen.
Exactly.
I know. That was kind of, I feel like a lot of people were so prepared for the exam, so canceling the last minute
because everyone was so fixated on giving exams. Even after A levels exam was cancelled, I honestly didn't think we would cancel the IB exam.
Exactly.
You guys happy though with the exam cancelled?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, because I wanted the non-exam route because honestly,
we had these options.
Yeah, we had two options of either taking the exam route or the non-exam route, and we had a majority that wanted the non-exam route. But however, the school was but the minority that chose the exam route are going to
I chose the exam route.
They're going to be affected. What?
Now let's just hope we all graduate, honestly, without exam.
Yeah, that's true.
The school scared us because they told us that 2/3 will fail. So
let's not jinx it. Let's just hope that we pass.
Yes.
True. And I also want to add something. When we had a meeting with the school about the whole exam or non-exam route, they said that for the exam route they have properly managed everything and all of this, right? They've taken precautions, but they also said that when one student asked, "What if a student gets COVID?" Right? And it might be because they came to school to give exams, and the school blamed it on that student by saying, well, you might have gone to the grocery store and that's where you got it from, which was so absurd because the school was so adamant.
It kind of makes sense as well. I think schools, they were trying their best to keep us safe because at the end of the day people are oh yeah, let's not do exam, health concerns, whatever. But then the same people, they're going to clubs and meeting friends in restaurants, so that's still very hypocritical as well.
Oh, they just want the exams to get cancelled.
School was trying their best. Because everything instead of school, everything the markets and restaurants and everything was going very smoothly. People just complaining about schools,
True.
I mean,
So,
personally for me, it wasn't about like going to clubs and when suddenly will pass without giving exams. I'm not ready. It wasn't that. I was like genuinely concerned about like the health
that's true.
situation here because like in this article I read once like with the rate that the positive cases are rising, for each one patient that gets a bed in the hospital, 40 more patients will be like left off of it. So it's like big for one person that gets treated, 40 people will be left to die, which is I think very concerning.
Yeah. Also,
Exactly.
after looking at the India's situation, we can
Like,
just predict how bad it's going to get in Nepal because last year they seeked help from India, but now India cannot provide help because
Yeah.
they're in such a
there are no resources stuff.
True.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the situation
There's
in
It's a
India.
good thing that it's a good thing that schools are closed right now. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's a
mean,
good thing
they
that this
had to,
country is
otherwise,
yeah,
exactly.
true.
Good,
But
but I saw one article too that said that the COVID cases in Nepal are skyrocketing. That it's mimicking India. So
true.
everybody stay home. That's it.
Yeah, and
yeah, I read this somewhere. It's so scary because India cases they have something like the virus getting like people getting infected by the virus spreading. So for Nepal, it was around two. It was calculated around two, whereas for India, it's just one. So it's more scarier in Nepal.
I mean, it would be bad here because India is one of those countries like which has resources and has been supplying those resources to other countries when they needed it. But like seeing their situation right now, they don't have resources to support their own people currently. And in this situation, I don't think they can support other countries who are like looking towards them for help. So like Nepal being a country with very limited resources that usually seeks help from India, I think the situation would get bad very soon, no matter how many like good precautions we take for exams or for any thing that requires a lot of people being in the same room.
Um, I want to say add on to that, like whatever Resha said about or about how the government took actions very late. I agree with that because honestly, it took like 5,000 cases per day for the government to declare a lockdown. And I'm not saying
Lockdown.
they should have declared a lockdown, but they should not have allowed different outlets to have so many gatherings. Okay, you do you guys
Yeah,
know the new Nepali football league? The
true.
opening, the prime minister himself went to that league, and there was like the what's that? Rangasala. Rangasala was filled with people, and I think that's like ignorant in like Nepal ko part, like people ko part, but also like prime minister go the opening one.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
Dollar Kumapani he went, right?
Yeah, true. He went to inaugurate those places like for cricket tournaments, football tournaments, and like the inauguration of Tarara, whatever. Like, it's a good thing that you're doing, and it's a good thing that, you know, you're trying to show that the country is progressing in some sort, like in some area, but I don't think it's the right example to set as the
Time.
prime minister of the
Yes.
country.
No.
I mean, it's not
Exactly.
the right time, not the right
Yeah.
situation. Nepal board exams are still not cancelled yet.
Yeah, which
Oh
So,
is
yeah, the plus two. Because their exam is in
Oh
like June or
yes.
July or something. Like they like some of my friends, their pre-boards was cancelled, but not their exam. Like they don't know yet. So
I think like this government should limit gatherings, like anything that has to have people gather, because as of right now we're all in our houses, but like we can't keep going with the same thing for I don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, right? Because it also affects our mental health. Like, how are you guys coping with this second lockdown, and how did you guys cope with the first one?
it's very different because like in the first lockdown, like we had school, like we had work to do, but now like our high
now,
school is over. We're
yeah.
basically like, there's
exactly.
nothing to do.
I felt so useless after the school canceled our exams.
Exactly.
I was like, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose here? And I
There's
woke up and
nothing to
Yeah, I was
do.
having a quarter life crisis. Like, oh my god, like
yeah.
what do I want? Yeah, that's so true.
And
Exactly.
then
The
I
only
started going through the social media posts about all these situations happening, and it
Yeah,
was too much for me.
kind of.
exactly.
I mean, with everything, the government should have considered like doing this early because, see, like 5,000 cases for other countries might be normal because they are big countries. We're a small one. And when cases rise from 200 to 5,000 in like a day span, then I think that should be a red flag on its own. And like we should have
True.
thought about this. Like,
I don't, it's not just the fact that our country is a small country, but it's also the fact that our country doesn't have enough resources to properly, like what's the name, treat these people, okay? And I think it's really careless on the part of the government. But again, we cannot really say you have not done anything because our government also, I don't know, I don't care.
I would also blame some people because once the lockdown eased last year, Pachi,
true.
there were so many people who took it as though everything ended and everything was normal. They started
Yeah,
going to
everything felt
parties,
so normal though.
mass
Even like going to
gatherings.
school and yeah.
Even people
Like the
stopped
first day,
wearing masks,
yeah.
which is
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
people
On
start
everything
wearing
streets.
Going to the school was like okay, I guess, because it was in a controlled environment. But did you see some people
Yeah,
who
for
are like
us.
dying to go to clubs? It's a
Oh,
pandemic.
yeah.
Why do you need to go to a club during this time? I don't
Yeah, I
get
saw
it.
like in videos in TikTok. I think it was like during New Year's or whatever. There was like whole countdown and like singers and everything, and that's just
True.
not it.
exactly.
That was the only time I appreciated people who stayed home and celebrated with their families instead of going out into clubs without mask and trying to celebrate it with like hundreds of different people.
Even until
Exactly.
recently, everything was like open and people were out and about.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we should realize that it's not just other people, but it's also us who are responsible for
Hmm.
lengthening the
That is true.
pandemic's
Yeah.
life, I guess. But like, because we are quarantined right now, but I heard that there are still people who are outside and all of that. Which, I mean, maybe they're not out partying and shit, right? But I don't know
I don't
why,
think
like,
that's the case right now, but
yeah,
But it's also a privilege that like we can stay home and like
True.
have a roof over our head and
yeah,
food.
true.
So it's sad as
So
well.
Yeah, I think that's something we should really appreciate because a lot of people have lost
Mm.
their jobs because a lot of people went back to their villages and
Right.
people from Kathmandu, there were like tons of people who went back to their villages, went in the
Yeah.
houses. So we have to be very appreciative of it. Plus, we have to realize that we have a privilege and we should not be the one causing other people to,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I saw a few people who were complaining about how long the lockdown is going on. And these were the same people who were going out every day. And like coming back to privilege, I think it's very necessary to check your privilege and like kind of at least pretend to stay grounded if you cannot actually be grounded because you're at the comfort of your own home, you have your family there, like you have things
Yeah.
to do, you can work out,
exactly.
you can create, you can do
Like our
everything.
problem is just we just have too much free time. Like that's such a like
That's the
maybe bratty
problem.
thing.
Which
Yeah.
sounds,
Yeah.
I mean,
But like
imagine if we
people,
were getting
yeah.
exams right
Exactly.
now.
Hmm.
True. I mean,
You would be
just
complaining either ways, but it's better
Yeah.
stay home.
and just so you know, we would have only reached our third exam by now, which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I
That's
know.
true. But yeah. But even if it's not like people working outside, like, even like people in their 20s, like who are living alone, like this pandemic may like really affect their mental because like we are with our families, like we have people
True.
around us,
Yeah.
but like people who live alone, oh my god, that's
Yeah,
very
that's
scary.
true.
I mean,
It's like I think me and Anna actually talked about this before, but like we have kind of grown to appreciate our parents' perspective because our parents are never home. I know they usually are at work or something else. But with the first lockdown itself, they were like home almost all of the time. It kind of got weird. I was like, oh, why are you guys home right now? But the thing is, like, we're experiencing what they were experiencing for the first lockdown because they didn't have to go back to work, but they had so much spare time in their hands, and that's what we have right now because schools ended and there's literally we don't even know if we graduated, which we will.
I
Okay,
mean,
we will
Let's
graduate.
We
hope we
will.
do.
Universe,
Yeah.
listen to me.
yeah, I don't think it has impacted us as much as it would impact like our parents because for us, like it was either school or hanging out with our friends, which we can still do like through Zoom and everything. But for our parents, it was like a work lifestyle. Like and they had like their
Yeah.
priorities set. So I think it gets difficult.
I mean, they had to provide for their family, but then they didn't have any work for 1 year. So
That's true. Yeah, I think now most work is done online as well, like through Zooms or like meetings and everything.
once the lockdown started, so many online shops started.
Yeah, that is
opening up.
true. Like
Yeah,
it's
which is a
shops in
good thing.
Instagram, especially.
Yeah, it's like it was kind of like a trend to have one online shop of your own, either a
A
thrift
thrift
shop
store.
or something like that. Yeah.
That is true. Thrifting became very popular in Nepal during the
I,
lockdown.
once like everybody started opening their own online shops, I felt really like it's a need. I felt like I was not doing enough. I was like, should I open one too? But I don't have clothes to sell.
But it's good, like secondhand thrifting, like
Yeah, it's a good thing.
sustainability. That's pretty good though.
And young people who are starting their business off, like, and taking their full advantage of this pandemic right now to do something creative and spend your time doing something. Really good on you guys. Kind of proud of you guys.
But it
Actually.
might be
Exactly.
easier for youth. Maybe not easier, but like the youth people, they're more like familiar with technology, the e-commerce. So yeah, they might know how to work with it. But like for older people that have no idea how to use like computer and stuff, maybe harder for them.
Yeah, but that also kind of connects to the fact that we have our privileges to stay in front of our laptops, our phones, to take online exams, and but there was literally so many schools that almost didn't have like school. The school didn't run for almost a year because they didn't have proper resources to.
Yeah, I heard SE board exams people, some of the schools haven't completed their course yet. So that's why the government extended
Yeah.
their study period. But however, private schools, I feel like they've already completed it because they were doing good with online classes. However, it's not the same for everyone.
With like some people like they have access to the internet, like, and technology, so for them it's easy, and for maybe like it's not that easy because going from a traditional situation to like fully online is not easy on anyone, but having like the resources to do it kind of makes it easier for you than those who have to risk their lives.
I agree because like ANMF, I don't like because I remember we had a meeting about this with Ulans and they wanted to make us or help us bring PSA towards the situation that the country is in right now, right? But the question and the thing that came up was the fact that we should realize our privilege because we cannot just tell people stay home and don't do this or don't do that because that is the only thing they can do to earn their living. We can stay home in the comfort of our houses because we have our parents to provide for us, but some people don't, and that's like so tricky, but it's also something that we have to really consider when we say stuff.
Even in this lockdown, I think people are allowed to move, like with us, like the workers, which is I think pretty decent. Like they can still work.
I think the government offices are open and banks.
Yeah, there's like this
banks and offices are open.
However, it's hard for people who have businesses.
Yeah, like small businesses.
I saw 61% of businesses in Nepal were shut down after the pandemic started.
I mean, clearly the tourism
Are things better for this lockdown for like businesses than they were last year, or like is it the same?
I mean, I guess if people adapted to the lockdown and changed the way they approach the business, it might have been. But I still don't think it is because like the businesses weren't even able to give their employees like 100% salary, because they were the ones who went in loss. So employees are like when they took like very few employees back, which we can make an entirely new, like different episode about it. We have to cover it. Honestly, I blame the government for this. Sorry.
It's also the people.
Yeah,
the citizens
you can't completely blame on the government.
Yeah, but like I guess it's been like really difficult for businesses, like you mentioned, and also people who are self-employed. It's been difficult for them too, definitely.
Yeah. Every small-scale business, especially the businesses under the tourism industry, has been
like
impacted a
hotels.
lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there was this thing. Do you guys remember the
Visit Nepal.
like something? Yeah, Visit Nepal 2020. That
Exactly. That's what I was gonna bring up. Was like I remember being excited for Visit Nepal 2020, but then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. I kind of felt bad because like it was like one of the biggest projects that Nepal had finally put out, and then
In
but
like
again,
10
this was
years.
exactly.
10 years.
Yeah, pretty sure the
But
last one was in 2011, and the country did very well during that.
yeah, because like I guess after that, like the internal tourism also rose very much because I saw people going to the Himal, I guess I'm pronouncing that correct, and Rara Lake and all of that after like the lockdown eased a little bit in like the first lockdown.
Yeah.
But early in Nepal, domestic tourism is increasing more than international. Maybe because
Yes.
of the situation, the pandemic.
I mean,
Hmm.
which is a
Yeah.
good thing, I'd
Yeah.
say, because we usually take our country for granted, and
Exactly.
everyone, including
That is
myself,
true.
like we haven't traveled much around our own countries. It's,
Yeah.
kind of a good
But we did
opportunity.
plan to. We did. It was like
We did
Yeah.
all
plan.
the plans we made, like after high
It
school is
got
over.
cancelled
Like
Yeah, we're gonna go
after
to
IB,
Korea,
because
but
of the situation.
there were a lot of plans that sadly cannot be
we're
done.
like
Yeah.
after IB is done, but it is
Yeah.
done
Yeah,
and nothing else. Yeah.
we're
Especially because
doing
like we just
nothing.
like finished our high school and like now like people are gonna go off to colleges. Like we plan to
True.
spend time with friends and everything.
True.
But
This
like
was our
we can spend
time,
time with
exactly.
families. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Spend
good
time with
because we
family.
wouldn't have, if there wasn't a lockdown or something, we would be going out.
True, true,
That's
Right.
true.
true.
And
Like the pandemic, of course, like even like the students, like I heard like there were people who like applied like last year to like countries such as Australia, but then since like the borders are closed for like
Yeah,
international flight in Australia, they're
that's
not
true.
able to go. Like they're studying from like Nepal, but then paying like
Yeah,
like way high amount of money. So that's
yeah,
Uh,
they don't have to pay for like dorms and accommodation, but like for the tuition fees.
yeah.
That's
but then
And
again,
plus,
online is completely different than going to the country to
yeah,
study.
that
It's
is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
a
like
different
the
experience.
the colleges and universities don't have enough fund to provide students with scholarships money, get like a high amount of scholarships,
exactly.
which is even worse.
I mean, I hope the situation gets better because online learning made my performance in school kind of go down, and I was like, I can't
That is
comprehend
so true.
anything. Dude, I used to be distracted from anything and everything that was around me, and I was like, what's wrong with me? And
Exactly, exactly.
For me, it was kind of not the same because I feel like I started doing more self-study by my own,
Mhm.
like if we went to school, for me at least, I had to spend 2 hours going to school and coming home,
Oh, yeah.
which now I could use it for something else.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
that way.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a really good thing because mine was exactly opposite. Like my screen time was like 8 hour per day.
Yeah, online classes and everything.
Yeah. So that's why I deleted all of my social media. I was like, I'm done. I don't need my phone anymore. I just
Oh, social media, like TikTok really popped off during quarantine. I think it was like one social
yes.
media that kept people sane as well,
I
Yep.
swear.
especially
And
during the
Yeah,
first
the rise of
lockdown.
TikTok. Mhm.
I think like Samyata mentioned, it also kind of relates to the short attention span of people because like TikTok is
Mm.
probably like 15 seconds to a minute, right? And people just scroll through it and that's why they stay in that app so much. Yeah, I remember we had this conversation.
Yeah, also they get new
New
videos
content.
at new content. Yeah, exactly.
Every scroll
60
market.
seconds every scroll mark.
I'd say
And
that
like
it had its negative effects, funny, because like
That,
it
that is
affects their
true.
mental health, but at the same time, it was helping a few people with their mental health because it was keeping them away from, their thoughts that would like affect them a
mm-hmm.
lot. So
But even
Yeah.
like with like yeah now like the kids who are in TikTok are like kids who are like growing up in this pandemic with like electronic, their life is gonna be so different.
True.
Even like the batch before us, like they did full online. I'm just like wondering how did they even made friends? Like it must have been so difficult for them because like we went to school at
Yep.
least for a year and then it was online. But like they started online.
Yeah,
Yeah, the batch of 2022. But I guess the batch of
And like
2023 is also going to be doing the
yeah, the
same thing.
same.
good luck to you guys.
Exactly. But coming back to the mental health aspect, I want to ask you guys, like, how did the lockdown, the first lockdown or the second lockdown, affect you guys as mental?
I think it was good though, like in the first lockdown.
I mean, like Anna said, Augie, like during the first lockdown, we had school to distract us. Right now, we don't have anything, and it's just kind of like trying to make this productive, but won't necessarily be productive because I don't have the motivation to do it, kind of thing.
Also,
This is also the
right now
mental-
we're in a situation where our future is so not predictable because, at least for me, I don't know where I'm going, what's happening in my future. So
This is also the mental health month this month
Yep.
of May.
Yep. It's the mental health awareness month.
So in the next episode, we can continue with the topic of mental health and just
Exactly. We'll bring
pandemic.
more information about how the lockdown kind of affected our mental health and how we've been working
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
So with this topic, we're going to end like the first segment of our episodes related to the pandemic. And thank you so much for listening to us and being patient with us. We hope to see you guys soon, hopefully on Friday with a new episode. Yay!
Yay!
If
I
you
feel
guys,
so good after completing this episode.
yeah.
We've been
Finally
working on
did
it for
it.
so long.
If you guys want to hear more from us, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I feel like a YouTuber. Follow us on Instagram for updates, information, and sources. You can also reach out to us through our Confessout page with any questions, recommendations, or opinions that you may have. Any engagement from your side will be highly appreciated. Along with all the links to our socials, you can also find the links to organizations from where you can donate and support different organizations working in Nepal and India to help with the pandemic in our description box below. Stay home, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.